Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the Nap Rose podcast, and I am your humble host, Nick, and joining me as most of the time is my beautiful co-host, Andrew, and not all the time. I was going to say all the time, but not always joining me. But, and just in case you haven't noticed, I have a new setup. I have a new microphone because the other microphone sucks.
You had to hold.
Well, either I had to hold it or I had to be speaking to the camera itself or speaking to the computer itself. And neither of those are really good things, but I was really blessed with a good buddy of mine here in Shanghai who bought a Rode NT1 microphone and the whole get up and go, including an audio interface, which helps to translate it from analog into digital. And he was like, I bought it. I was going to do voiceovers, but decided not to because there wasn't enough money in it. And he was like, but I also don't want to throw it away. He's moving, not moving, just moving to a different place here in Shanghai. But he was like, I don't want to get rid of it. And I'm like, well, I'll take it. And I am very glad that I did. It sounds much better than anything I've done before. So I am very happy with what I've got here. So anyway, without any further ado, what were you saying? So this week was a little crazy. Obviously, with the Bills and Bengals game being postponed and then ultimately canceled, there's a lot of talk going on with that. Obviously, first and foremost, we do want to say we are praying for Damar Hamlin. We've heard good things as far as him like waking up and being able to talk to the doctors and stuff like that. So that's great. Very, very scary situation. Very crazy situation. Even now, I think I'm still processing what it must have been like, and also just seeing like a kid, because that's what he is. I mean, a kid going down in the peak of his athleticism, in the peak of his career, going down with basically cardiac arrest, and just kind of like witnessing that. And I don't remember if I saw it live. Obviously, there was a lot of video replay and stuff like that showing what happened, as normally when there are injuries they do anyway. But kind of seeing that, and we'll talk about kind of like injuries in sports, injuries in football specifically, but yeah, kind of like seeing that happen, witnessing what was going on, just definitely praying for him, and definitely more important than our fantasy, definitely more important than the sport. Don't shake your head, bro. We're gonna get canceled, okay? Don't be doing that stuff. YouTube's gonna block us.
Well, I would like to get into that comment you just made there about being
canceled,
blocked, right?
Oh, being blocked. Okay.
Of being canceled is what they call it. You know,
you want to go down this path? This is where we're okay.
I kind of wanted to go down that path because, like, I don't know how you feel about it, but reading the messages that went through our group, I didn't think there was anything that was said offset for someone to be going off about. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think anything being said deserved to be, like, I don't know, reacted to so harshly.
Well, okay, so
like, I think people misconstrued what he was saying. Maybe, I don't know. That's all I want to say about that. You don't have to weigh on that if you don't want to.
Well, I mean,
you've already been kicked out of one league.
I'm not necessarily talking about getting kicked out of this league. I think it would take a lot for me to get kicked out of this league.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when he apologized, like, first off, if that's Trent going off, like, he seems like a much nicer guy than I would ever be. I mean, if that's going off, like, if that's having a field day, but regardless of that, like, I appreciate him, like, talking about. Okay, are you talking about Nathan's response about getting screwed? Is that what you're referring to?
I guess, is that what the big deal was made about?
I think so I think it was Nathan. Nathan said, "Yeah, I'm getting screwed." Like Ryan was like, "Good decision, good decision by the league to postpone it, obviously." And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm getting screwed though." And then Ryan's like, "Guess we'll see." Scott weighed in, but then Trent was like, you know what? I guess the deal was that Trent may have felt that Nathan was, you know, not bad mouthing, but kind of being like, you know, focused on something more than he should have been, like focused on the fantasy championship versus focusing on Damar Hamlin. And I don't think that's necessarily the deal. I don't think it was. I think it was such a shock to everybody. And I think one of the issues, one of the challenging things that I think that happens with like this idea of like being canceled or blocked or kicked out. I think we react to things very quickly without thinking them through in the first place. Like, for instance, like one of the things that we're kind of, and it's easy for us to be able to do that. You can pick up your phone. You can pick up your phone and immediately write a message about something and not thinking about it, not planning on it, not thinking about how other people are going to perceive it. And that immediately gets out there. As where before, it would normally take weeks, days, hours, instead of milliseconds for you to be able to think about what you're putting out there. And so I don't think Nathan meant anything meant to be disrespectful towards Damar Hamlin. But on top of that, also, I think Trent may have just kind of like seen that and kind of like snapped. But again, I don't think Trent necessarily, I didn't feel like Trent was being overly aggressive, but I can understand. But one of the things that I sent to Trent, and I was like, I really appreciated that he had apologized to everybody. I know he had talked to Nathan like individually and privately, but also on top of that, being able to discuss that with him. But I was like, I really appreciate and apologizing to the group. I really appreciate that because like I wasn't following along verbatim, but also like I went back and I reread and I was like, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with what Nathan said, and I don't necessarily see anything wrong with what Trent said. But if Trent himself felt like he was being a jerk or something like that, then and then him going as a man and going apologizing to Nathan, I think that was fantastic. Again, me personally, I didn't see anything wrong with that, but Trent being self-aware enough to know like, okay, I'm doing this out of spite and out of anger and out of frustration. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like I appreciate him doing that. I don't necessarily see anything wrong with his words, but I can understand if the animosity was behind there and him feeling guilty about that. So, Trent, props to you. Nathan, props to you for accepting the apology. Trent, props to you for apologizing. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like I think one of the dangers that we have in today's world is how quick we are to react to somebody not actually thinking through something. I mean, take a look at what happened with Skip Bayless. When I read what Skip Bayless had written, now don't get me wrong, I don't know, I haven't seen any clarification, but Skip Bayless puts out a tweet, and I'll actually probably like show it on here. But he puts out a tweet.
Tweet. Like it.
Puts out a tweet. Put out a tweet. It's a very quick tweet.
We are tweeting today.
I know. We're done with it. We are not running down this thing because I know what your brain is thinking. Quick tweet. It's a quick tweet. That's what it stands for. That's what it stands for, ladies and gentlemen.
Can
a quick tweet is a tweet.
How to get to Sesame Tweet.
No, why would we go to Sesame Tweet? That's a very awkward place to be. Anyway, so Skip Bayless. So Skip Bayless puts out this tweet about the game, and like people are roasting him, like trying to destroy him. And the thing is like, to me, I don't think. First off, I don't think he may not have figured that it was as serious as it was.
I love how you always pause. I don't think like you pause right there every time.
I don't think. I mean, that's the thing is I don't think. I don't think Skip Bayless thought about what he was putting out there. I don't think he knew how serious of a situation it was. Even if he did, I would still look at that tweet with, again, the benefit of a doubt. And that's the thing. I don't think we are giving people the benefit of a doubt. It's like in this world of instantaneous responses to anything going on, we don't give benefits of a doubt. We don't give that anymore. It's not. It's like. Oh, he said this, and that's the worst ever. You mother. And I'm just like, guys, like, calm down, breathe a little bit, give the person a benefit of a doubt. Like, let them. Now, if it's someone like if it's someone, I'm trying to think of someone who it could possibly, someone who we see kind of have a track record of not keeping their mouth shut, or saying things that are just to tick people off. If it's something like that, then and to an extent, people could sit there and say that Skip Bayless is absolutely that. Like he's a shock jock basically. But even so, like I don't necessarily think that's. I didn't really garner that from his tweet. I didn't garner that from his tweet about needing, like, how in the world is this going to happen? This is like a big game. I don't think he was viewing it as like, who gives a crap about Damar Hamlin? Like, we need to get this game going. I think it was more like he may not have thought it was as serious as it was. It was like, guys, this is an important game. We got to get this done. Now, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. He could come out later on, or I'm sure he's going to come out later on and be, or he's probably already come out and said, I'm sorry about this. I shouldn't have tweeted it. That being said,
I don't understand. Like it's Skip Bayless. Everybody expects him to run his mouth a little bit. It's kind of like everybody expects Elon Musk to be a moron nowadays.
So the quote was, so for Skip Bayless, did you see him?
I did
post
not.
This?
Like okay. What you're talking about, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. You know who Skip Bayless is, yes?
White guy used to play with Steven Smith. Not play with, but used to.
Yeah. Now he's with Shannon Sharp on Fox, I believe it is.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp, right.
So he tweets Monday. Again, I'm not sure exactly when or what time. But he says, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game. But how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. Now, the way I took that, I guess it was like the first part was like, how are they going to postpone the game when it's so crucial? But I took the which suddenly seems so irrelevant as maybe he was saying it suddenly seems so irrelevant because of this man's life being on the lines. So this game doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I'm sure other people took it as like, how could this game be so irrelevant now all of a sudden that this is happening? I'm sure that was, I mean, like you could take those both ways. And for me, I took it the more positive way, again, benefit of a doubt. And I'm sure he's come out and apologized since that tweet because a lot of people were ripping to shreds on Twitter. I mean, I was keeping on Twitter to kind of pay attention to see what was going on and stuff like that. And just basically it was my daytime that whole evening. I was watching Twitter, just kind of refreshing and seeing what was going on, seeing if there were any updates and whatnot. But yeah, so that kind of craziness going on. Kind of something that I kind of wanted.
Basically, he was like, "Let's go ahead and get a game going." Basically,
yeah, or at least that's how people felt. Is like, hey, let's just get out there and play the game. And the thing is again, the problem is he needs to have some kind of thing to say in relationship to what's going on, but also he needs to. Potentially get more reviews and stuff like that. And so could it have been a shock jock type of thing? Absolutely. I mean, but that's the thing. And I think people were so upset about it because this kid was basically on life support in essence, like trying to survive, trying to live, needing to get CPR on the field, needing to, have a tube of oxygen shoved down his throat in order to continue his breathing. Like all of these different things. And here we have a sports commentator who doesn't play the sport and probably, I don't think ever has played the sport, commenting on something like this. And it kind of, rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And I get that. I mean, I understand. Let me say this. I understand how people felt. Like, I get that. I'm not dissuading that at all. I'm not saying that that's ridiculous. I'm just saying we're so quick to
deal out judgment.
Yeah. We're so quick to deal out judgment and to not give the benefit of a doubt. Now, again, Skip kind of has this reputation of being a jerk. But I don't think he's that big of a jerk. It would be very hard for me to sit there and say, like, the possibility of this man dying on the field, and Skip's like, we got to play this game. Who gives a crap about him laying down on the field? I don't think he's that heartless. He may be Bayless, but I don't think he's heartless.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like what you did
there. Yeah. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to get your opinion on the Damar Hamlin situation and the kind of like your thoughts on it.
I mean, what is there to think about, honestly? Like the man collapsed, they revived him. I mean, I'm not trying to sound Bayless as well, but I mean, I kind of am in the sense of, like, well, my first thought, honestly, was, don't they, like, strap him up to a heart monitor and put him through rigorous activities as far as, like, training and stuff to make sure, like, they can survive? Like, that was my first thought,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not to mention this guy is at his peak, his best, Second thought, first time I saw the clip, I was like, did he get hit? Like, did I miss something? But then it's like, now he just collapsed out blue. And it's like, so honestly, it's like, I don't think, like, it's kind of like, I'm kind of understand where Bayless is coming from. This is a freak accident. It has nothing to do with the football game. Like, the man literally just died on the field. Something happened with his heart giving out. I don't know. I read about it. Like, it's like, go ahead. You want to say something? Go ahead.
Well, I need to correct you. He did get hit in the chest. T. Higgins, he was going to tackle T. Higgins. T. Higgins' shoulder hit him directly in the chest. What they're saying it is, I don't know what the condition is, but the condition is basically, if you get hit in the chest, and they've seen it happen with hockey players and baseball players, where they get hit in the chest at the right moment, where in the middle of your heart beating. If you get hit in the chest the right moment, it stops your heart. You go into cardiac arrest. Like, it's a very freak accident. It's a very thin time frame. But if you get hit at that moment, then that you go into cardiac arrest. And so they're saying that is what happened, is that he got hit by T. Higgins, again, in the midst of a normal legal tackle, nothing that T. Higgins did wrong, nothing that Damar Hamlin did wrong. He got hit, stood back up based on adrenaline, and then collapsed. So it wasn't like just a heart collapsing. It wasn't that the test that they had done of his heart showed anything irregular. There was nothing irregular. It was a freak accident in that he did get hit by T. Higgins and it stopped his heart, and that's what was going on.
Or they took the video down.
They did. There was a lot, like, even that night they were talking about, like, not sharing the video, like, and so I'm sure that the NFL went in and, like, started picking it up, or ESPN started copy striking anybody that posted the video. But yeah, he goes in to tackle T. Higgins, gets hit square in the chest by T. Higgins' shoulder. Again, everything legal, nothing illegal, nothing sinister or unsportsmanlike, and gets up from the tackle and then collapses. So it was a freak accident, but it wasn't, nothing happened. It wasn't like his heart just stopped. It was that kind of freak accident where in all of these situations, if this happens and this happens and this happens perfectly, which is what happened, cardiac arrest.
40 millisecond window.
again, super freak accident, like a 40 millisecond window.
Absolutely.
Hit that to do that. One of the interesting things that is going on. So first off, injury wise, we'll just kind of go with football and injuries because I want to go down that path. My wife and I are talking about football, and this doesn't help. But I've been trying to tell her that if we end up having a son or even a daughter, if my daughter comes up to me and says, "Daddy, I want to play football," I'll be like, "Okay, what kind?" They're like, "Tackle football." I'm like, "Baby, are you sure?" Yeah. I was like, "All right, I'll get you to tackle football, but understand it's going to hurt." She's like, "That's okay, Daddy. I got it." All right. And then I'll put her out there with the boys and see if she can handle it. If she can, great. If she can't, then we'll go find something else that we can get her into. But as far as a boy, and again, I do I think that my daughter would be okay for a time? Yeah. But as the boys get bigger and stronger, I don't think that she'll be able to keep up with them. I just don't think that's possible. But that being said, if my son decides that he wants to play football, like I've always been like, yeah, okay, I'll encourage that. I'll even like throw the football around the yard with him and stuff like that. But my wife and I have been talking about it, and with concussions, with ACL injuries, spinal column injuries, all these different types of injuries where it's so, I don't want to say it's so easy, but it's seemingly easy for you to get injured on the football field versus any other sport, versus soccer, versus baseball, versus basketball, versus lacrosse, versus rugby even. I mean, all these other sports that, especially like rugby where it is aggressive, but because you're not wearing pads and helmets, that it's less damage, surprisingly. And I mean, you still get injured, of course, in all these other sports, but nothing quite to the seriousness that American football presents. So what I wanted to ask you is, have you thought about your boys playing American football? Have you thought about them playing American football, and have you tried to direct them in a different path? Because I mean, I know you haven't played other sports. Is that partially like something that you're like, I am so glad that you like these sports and not American football, because I would be concerned about your health and injuries and stuff.
Listen,
yeah,
no, I'm gonna go ahead and answer your question. I will never feel bad for my kids wanting to play sports. Like I'm not. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Damar took a heck of a hit, but I'm not going to stop my kids from playing football just because of some hit, I want them to experience it. I never played, of course. Mm-hmm. I wrestled. I still remember to this day this one wrestling movie or clip, like fails or epic fails. And this was like before, just so everybody else knows, before YouTube, you can find on YouTube video. There was just, I think it was like, there was a wrestling match. Kid gets picked up, and when he throws him back down, his leg twisted like 360 degrees under him, just snapped it all in half. It was like, that to this day, I can still see that in my head. Mm-hmm. But it's like, that never stopped me. I mean, stuff happens all the time. Like, it just goes back to, hey, the number one cause of death is auto accidents as far as like modes of transportation, but you ain't gonna keep your kid out of the car.
But I think the argument that people have, and what I've heard, is the amounts percentage-wise of injuries in American football versus other sports. And so, like, yes, you could have a freak accident in wrestling. You could have we saw Paul George, I think, in basketball one day, like went up to make a shot, landed weird, broke his leg, and grotesque and terrible and fascinating all at the same time. And if anybody has a problem with me saying that him breaking a leg is fascinating, it's only because it's like awesome in the sense that I was so speechless, and it was just, you can't turn away from it sometimes. But that being said, like, the amount or the number of injuries that happen in American football percentage-wise versus, and I don't know the numbers on this. I'm not sitting there saying like, oh, well, there's definitely more in American football. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is I think that there are questions that need to be asked. And I think it's legitimate. I mean, I personally, I would love my child to play American football because I love American football. However, I don't know. Even after this, I'm debating. I'm like, I've been debating for a while, but I'm debating. Like, I wouldn't want my child not. Here's the thing: I wouldn't want my child to choose American football not knowing what could possibly happen. I want them to be fully conscious of the types of injuries, fully conscious of what was going on. Especially as they are a child. When they get into college, I still want them to be aware, but also at that point in time, it's their choice. Like, I would kind of want to like maybe direct them in a different path, possibly when they're in elementary school, middle school, high school. But if they were like really passionate about American football, then I would probably try to do everything I could to make him a kicker.
Make him a kicker. Yeah.
Or a center or something that's not going to deal long snapper, a punter, or even the punter could get really, really messed up. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thought and like, that's the concern that my wife has for sure. And I'm starting to have like no matter it seems like no matter what you do in American football, there's always going to be injuries. There's always going to be some kind of risk to your body / your life even. And to that end, I wonder if I would continue doing that. And so you would be okay with that. Like if your boys were like, hey, you know what, Daddy, we want to go play American football.
Yes, it would be just fine if they wanted to play real football.
Okay.
And so, funny story, it's like they were talking about playing soccer.
Yeah.
And after playing basketball, and they're playing full court basketball, and they're just like, I gotta run so much. I was like, how do you think soccer's going to be?
Yeah, soccer.
I was like, granted, they give you a shorter field. You know, they work their way up, but my God, it's nothing but running the entire time.
Yep. Now, I would probably push my children into trying to do soccer because soccer is becoming more and more popular in the States, and it's obviously the world sport. But I would, and there's now. I personally like if my child were like, "Hey, Daddy, I want to be a soccer player," I'm like, "Okay, cool. Let's move to a South American country that does really well in soccer. Let's move to Europe, which does really well." I would not put my child in America. Like, there's no way, because our soccer programs right now are like garbage. And so, but if my child's like, I want to play American football, Daddy, well, then I guess we're moving back to America, bud. So
is that how he's going to talk?
I wanna play American football, Daddy.
Well,
I'd be like, buddy, I think you should just go read comic books. Go do some coding, bud. Go build a business around technology, okay?
Okay, Daddy. I can do that.
I'm worried about you, sir.
Hey, man, you should always be worried about me. So.
Also, the Bengals have knocked out 5 people as far as injuries go. I don't know how many the other teams have, but the Bengals did Tua. They took out T.J. Watt in the first week for 6 weeks. Now they got, what's his face? Then they also did Hunter Henry. Those are the top 4. Or the 5th one. You know what I mean? So it has the worst injury-causing record, if that makes sense.
I don't think the Bengals were like trying to injure everybody. I mean, you take a look at like last year when Derrick Henry got out. It wasn't like the team that helped him get out did it on purpose. I mean, but so let me read you what Rich Eisen had posted. I guess is about an hour ago. The impact of Rich Eisen. You don't know who Rich Eisen is? Used to be a really key person in the. I think maybe he was the NFL or maybe he was ESPN. I forget.
Anyways,
But anyway, yeah,
I'll look him up real quick while you're reading.
So the impact of the canceled Bills and Bengals game. The Bengals have clinched the AFC North. The Ravens cannot win the division. The Bengals can no longer get the 1 seed and a first round bye. Only Kansas City or Buffalo. The Chiefs clinched the first round with a win at Las Vegas or a Buffalo loss versus New England. The Bills clinched the first seed with a win versus New England and a Kansas City loss to Las Vegas.
That's who it is.
The Bengals earned the 2 seed with a win versus Buffalo. Or I'm sorry, a win versus Baltimore. Buffalo loss versus New England. Otherwise, it would be the 3 seed.
I don't know how it will play out, but I'm thinking I need to figure it out real quick because everybody wants to riot and really want to make a big deal about it. But
I mean, the other thing too is.
Honestly, Goodell needs to just come out and just say what he's going to do, quit being a pussyfoot.
No. Now, really quick, what you were saying about Roger Goodell coming out and just saying, "Hey, we're gonna get this thing done. We've got to, all these different things." Like, and a lot of people were saying that on Twitter also the other day. Is when Damar Hamlin went down. Everybody's like, "Why are we not canceling the game? Cancel the game! Cancel!" I think a lot of people assume that the NFL commissioner can just come out straight out the gate and be like, all right, we're canceling the game and that's it. No repercussions, no nothing. The thing is like there's a lot of loopholes you got to jump through. I mean, eventually, obviously, they're going to cancel the game. But the problem is like everybody's like, oh, man, this guy went down. They were giving him CPR for 9 minutes. 2 minutes after he left to the hospital, we got to cancel the game. And the thing is like, I think the game was canceled and that the players, the coaches, everybody there knew that the game was canceled. But it hadn't been announced in the broadcasting because I'm pretty sure like they had to negotiate or talk about and like figure out how to work that out. And so the same thing goes with the playoffs. I don't think Roger Goodell can come out without like doing a lot of checking. And that's one of the reasons why we're seeing like there are multiple scenarios that could happen. And so he's checking, trying to figure out what's going to work best for everybody involved.
I don't know that.
What do you mean you don't know that?
I'm saying like, yes, they said the game was postponed. That is, it was canceled.
No. Well, it was temporarily postponed and then postponed and now canceled.
Like my point is just like he could have just made the call then.
But again, I'm telling you, like broadcasting wise, like first and foremost, the most important at that point are going to be the family of Damar Hamlin. That's probably first. Second, teammates of Damar Hamlin and the team that's connected to Damar Hamlin. Then the other team, and then the fans and the broadcasting. I think that was handed out. I think it was handed out in a perfect amount of time. Like I think everybody's sitting there like all the. I mean, again, everybody, not giving the benefit of a doubt. Again, trying to jump to conclusions, like all these different things, and like even at that point, apparently, somebody had reported to Joe Buck that they were going to start the game in like 5 minutes, and the NFL's like, no, we never said anything like that. I don't know who you heard it from. I don't know where that came from, but. That was incorrect information. Like we were not planning on starting the game in 5 minutes. We weren't telling everybody to go suit up and stuff like that.
Bogus.
Right, exactly. And so, but people had heard that, and Joe Buck said that, and not saying that Joe Buck was at fault. Somebody told him that, but when they heard that, they're like, I can't believe this is happening. The NFL is being ridiculous, caring more about money than the people. Not in this case. Like this is. Will I sit there and say that the NFL does care more about money than it does about the people? To some extent, yes. However, not necessarily in this case. And so, I'm not defending Roger Goodell for the certain actions that he's done, but in this case, I think he handled this with the best way that he possibly could without causing
Roger Goodell needs to step down. Yeah, like I feel like. Given all the stuff that's gone on, like he should have been out a long time ago. I'm not saying like he's done anything bad. It's just like nobody seems to like him. I don't think.
I don't know. part of the issue is like not knowing what kind of goes into the intricacies of dealing with fans, dealing with broadcasting, dealing with NFL teams, dealing with NFL owners, dealing with the NFLPA, like not knowing, and dealing with referees, dealing with all these different things as the commissioner. I don't know, like, are there certain things that he needs to have done that he didn't do? Sure. We could talk about the COVID issues. We could talk about giving more money to players, concussions, giving money to players who have CTE or who have retired and are not getting the medical attention that they need based on the game. And trying to navigate this minefield that we call the NFL and all of its partners. Yeah, it's challenging. It's definitely difficult. I wouldn't necessarily say he's done. Again, from my perspective, like I guess Goodell's been the commissioner since I can remember actually paying attention to the game. And here's the other thing too. Here's something like he has made the NFL bigger and more powerful than any commissioner before him. Now, I'm not saying that if the commissioners before him didn't do what they did, that he would have been able to do what he does or did. But that being said, like I don't necessarily see anything per se wrong. I think one of the challenges is like when because the NFLPA is there designed specifically to curb the control of the commissioner. And so if anything, like you can sit there and say like with the collective bargaining agreement that the NFLPA hasn't done what it should have done for them. Like the commissioner has so much power over all these things, but that was negotiated in the contracts. And so kind of going along those lines, again, do I think he should make as much as he does? Probably not. Do I think the NFL should care more about their players? Of course. Do I think the NFL costs too much for the fans? Yes. But tell me a company that doesn't do the same thing. It just happens that the NFL is much more public. Like,
not to mention, I don't see him not making as much money as those players, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, but the thing is like he does make. I mean, he makes a lot of money for sure, but you know, he is running this. I'm not saying that he should make as much as he does. I definitely think the players should get a lot more, especially in relationship to the broadcasting agreements. I think players should get more. Like even to an extent. I mean, the teams get all of it, but then again, even that's an issue. Like the teams get the money from the contracts with the TV or with the stations and stuff like that. However, I mean, the NFL gets the money too, but then the teams are responsible for distributing that to the players as they see fit. And so that's kind of NFLPA. That's also your agent's responsibility as a player, that all these different things. That's what you're paying people to do for you in order to make sure that you're getting a fair cut of the deal. And if they're not doing a good job, get somebody in there that they can do a good job, that kind of thing.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. We hope that the sound is better on my end for sure. Is it not? I think it sounds great. Without any further ado, if you're watching on YouTube,
voice sounds great any day of the week.
Wow, that's a very valid point. I do enjoy hearing my own voice.
Continue the outro.
If you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button. Click the bell. That way you can be notified about when we post. Click the like and leave us a comment in the sections below. Let us know what you think about Roger Goodell and stuff like that. If you're listening on your podcasting app, click the subscribe button. Leave us a 5-star review. I'm Nick.
I'm Andrew.
And as always,
you have an open invitation to our conversation.
Bye-bye.